Josh Duggar branded evil by mother of his child pornography victim. Josh Duggar has been branded evil by the mother of one of his child pornography victims, as prosecutors are demanding the disgraced star receive 20 years in prison. The Sun can exclusively reveal from court papers that prosecutors are demanding the father of 7 receive 20 years in prison, as the mother of one of the victims in the images has spoken out in support of the government. The government wrote in the sentencing memoriam, in consideration of the extraordinary efforts Duggar took to obtain and view child sexual abuse material (CSAM), the nature of the CSAM he obtained and viewed, his efforts to conceal his criminal conduct, and his refusal to take accountability for or acknowledge any of his criminal conduct, the government recommends the court impose a guideline term of imprisonment of 240 months. Evil. Prosecutors believe it is important for them to highlight the pain his predation caused in the words of his victims. The court papers read, as the parent of one of the victims depicted in the CSAM the defendant downloaded explained, her daughter became an anxious and fretful shadow of her former self after being sexually abused. Read more on Josh Duggar. Josh Duggar's sentencing delayed by 2 months as he faces 20 years in prison, and when addressing the harm caused by offenders like Duggar, who traffic in images depicting the worst moments of her daughter's life, she wrote, "I can find no words to express the fury I feel at those who participate in this evil, or my scorn for any attempt to minimize the responsibility by feeble claims that the crime was victimless. My daughter is a real person. She was horribly victimized to provide this source of entertainment. She is exploited anew each and every time an image of her suffering is copied, traded or sold. While the crime is clearly conscienceless, it is hardly victimless." The mother asked her daughter what she wanted most from the judge. Her request was, according to the court papers, "Please, don't let them pretend no one's getting hurt." The victim said of Josh, "Don't you know no one should do that to a little girl? Don't you know it hurts?" The court documents continued, "As the mother of a child victimized by this crime, I would ask that the court take into consideration the damage done by this heartless crime to my daughter and others like her, including those children who still wait for someone to rescue them from their exploitation, and have no one here today to speak for them, and impose a sentence that takes into account the full impact of the crime on the victims." The prosecution continued in their argument, "Those are the words of just one parent of just one victim. There are many more victims of Duggar's crimes, all of whom were subjected to extreme and unimaginable instances of sexual abuse and violence. Some of the victims depicted in the CSAM he downloaded and possessed, like the victim described above, have been identified and rescued. Others have not, and the pain and trauma they have experienced as a result of Duggar's conduct will go unvoiced at the sentencing hearing." The government also brings up when Josh molested minor females in the family home when he was a teenager. The police report taken in 2006 was made public in 2015, as sisters Jill, 30, and Jessa, 29, came forward as 2 of the victims.